All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show on the road. First, I should greet again and say good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Mamelodi Sundowns colleagues, members of the media. Thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. I would like to again express my gratitude because from what I understand, it's a very busy day in the media cycle. There's a lot happening in South African sports and football. So I guess in the spirit of giving and the Christmas spirit, I will say we thank you, and your presence is our present. So thanks. But today we have some important news to share with our supporters and local media and sports media in general. And your presence definitely warrants that type of announcement. Now, Mamelodi Sundowns Football Club for the longest time has been a team that has based itself on playing attractive, entertaining, and successful football. It's the reason why we wear the colors that we wear, and it's the reason why we have earned the nickname Bafana Bastyle. But alongside that identity of football is a mentality that the club has cultured across the years and the seasons, thanks to the many coaches and players that have been part of the journey that we've taken. And that mentality is based on our motto, which is to always strive to be the best, to set high targets for ourselves, and to always strive to achieve. We're an ambitious and an aspirational football club. Now, in recent months, our team has struggled to match that type of ambition and has struggled to meet the high standards that we have had and we've set for ourselves, both as a board, as an organization, and we even feel that the supporters deserve the high quality and the high standard of football that we set. And so, ladies and gentlemen, today we've brought you all here to share with the media that the football club and the Mamelodi Sundowns board and management have decided to implement a restructuring and a change in the coaching department. And this was based on the need for us to redirect, re-energize, and to make sure that our club can achieve the targets and the milestones that we've set for ourselves. Now, this was by no means an easy decision. Coach Manqoba Sacked and Coach Wendell Robinson were two coaches that have been with the football club for over 2 decades, 22 years combined to be exact. They've been with us at the club's most historic and successful periods, and they have been incredible servants to the football club. Coach Romain Foltz, who joined us very recently, also was a very important player and part of this technical team. His attitude, his energy, and his desire to improve is something that all of his colleagues appreciated very much. But again, I say, we needed to go another direction. But we do that knowing that as much as we're moving forward, we as a football club have a commitment to developing African and South African coaches and players. So although we will be doing this change in leadership and restructuring, we will be holding on to 2 coaches, namely Coach Steve Kompela and Coach Kennedy Mwini, who will serve part of this new technical team that we will be introducing very shortly. Now, on that note, allow me to speak about the man who will be leading that technical team. He is a man who we believe has the right type of personality to lead a club like Mamelodi Sundowns Football Club. He has the ability and he has the desire to take us to the highest levels and to succeed as a football club. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome the new Mamelodi Sundowns head coach, Mr. Miguel Cardoso. Can we please give him a round of applause? Now, Coach, these are some very, very talented media personalities, so their hands are full jotting down. They couldn't clap too much. But I'm sure you'll hear a round of applause at the stadium. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Can we just welcome the coach again, please, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome, Coach. Welcome to South Africa.
Thank you very much.
If you have a few words that you'd like to share with the media, please go ahead, Coach.
Subona,
Sawubona, coach.
I'm very happy to see you again. Probably a few we saw each other last year. Obviously, there are some words I would like to address to people in general and some in particular. Starting obviously with a public thank you to the family Motsepe, to the person of the president, here represented by the chairman obviously, to himself, thank you very much. To the sports director, Mr. Fleming Berg, and to all the Masandawana family. It's a really pleasure to be here, to be the head coach of Mamelodi Sundowns, and to be among you in South Africa, a country with such huge history, culture, nature, that will not only as a professional, but as a man, make me grow a lot. So I really feel not only happy, but a big, big, big privilege by being among you. So thank you very much for that. Obviously, it's clear that Mamelodi Sundowns, even being, let's say, not young, but a club with 50 years, 54, representing a city representing Mamelodi region. It's already a club with a big heritage. And heritage, it's history, but it's very important because it's the point and where we come from basically represents a lot. And we need to understand the roots of a club so that we understand the people and the expectations of the people and the identity of the club. I'm entering a club with a huge identity, and I will make all my best, not only to give happiness to the people, but to represent them, obviously, in the best way. And represent them is to go along with the objectives of the club, with the values of the club. I'm a person of values. We discussed it a lot, values. And values also speak regarding the identity of the club. I had already the privilege and opportunity to speak about that with the chairman, but values like excellence, integrity, and honesty will be the base of our work and will be in our heads in every moment. Regarding the relations we want to establish with everybody in the club, with the staff in general, and also with the players, and obviously with our fans and yourselves. I'm a man of people. I like a lot of people. I like to connect with people. I'm a very humble and simple person, but also at the same time I'm very demanding because I know what we need to do to win, and not win sometimes, but win on a regular basis, or win always, because that's the demand we have ahead of us, is win trophies. So contribute, opening a new era, a new page in the club, contribute to the heritage that one day will be even bigger. So that's the objective we have ahead of us. That one day, and I hope that day is very far away from today, I'll leave the club. I also want to be reminded among great coaches like Pitso, Motsepe, like Mr. Rulani, like Mr. Compella, like Mr. Manqoba, and others. So I want also to leave my name, obviously, among you, first as a good person, second as a good coach, and third as a winner. These are our objectives when we are entering this club. I want also obviously give a special word to the fans of Mamelodi. I hope obviously that we can be together in the goods, in the bad moments. Obviously we'll try not to have bad moments, as few as possible, but we need to be together. We need to be a family. I felt a family when I arrived, from the first moment we spoke, and I want that family to be present every moment and our match days. We need the people, we need the support, we need this happiness, the way that really impressed me last year, the way people celebrated in the moment of the game, I want to feel this joy, this pleasure, and I want to contribute for that with the results that for sure we will attain. So, in general, that was the message that I want to pass to you. So thank you very much to hear me, and I'm open for whatever you feel is interesting or important to speak.
Thank you, Coach. Questions? Should we take questions first and we do this at the end?
Members of the media, there will be an opportunity for question and answers, but in the meantime, we do have a handover to the coach from the club chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Shupi. Coach, it's a pleasure on behalf of Mamelodi Sundowns and the supporters to welcome you and wish you all the best on this new and exciting chapter that we have together. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Raise it a little bit more, Coach, on the side. Yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
the sky's the limit.
Thank you. Thank you, Shupi. Coach, you give this to your 22-year-old son.
I will.
Coach's
Thank
son
you
is
very
an
much.
engineer. Okay, Shupi.
Members of the media, we'll open the floor for question and answers. Please do introduce yourselves and the media how to represent. Is that a question or a query? Question. Okay. So we'll start with Buyo then. Thank you.
Good afternoon to the top table. Maybe Chair, starting with you, just maybe an extension in terms of this appointment, just the length of it, the duration of it, as well as the technical part of it. You did mention that Coach Steve from this side will be staying in Kennedy, but from the coach's side, will he be bringing in his own soldiers to be back here in this space? And also, then from the coach's side, just when you are approach, for example, for this position, how much do you have to do you sort of your reflection, especially for the last season semi-final? Did you look at Sundowns' positioning that made you sort of decide that this is a sort of a team that I can go into? I'm here from New South Africa.
Sorry, Vuyo, before you leave the mic, can you just, the beginning of your question, you said reflection?
Duration of the contract.
Oh, the duration of the contract.
Yes, duration.
Okay. What I will do is I'll definitely speak to, a few of the details, but as a general principle, we don't like to discuss the contract matters, pay, duration in the public, but definitely in terms of, the reasons as to why we brought a coach like Miguel to Mamelodi Sundowns is he has a long history of being with very, very good football clubs. He's traveled across the world and he's learned so much throughout his journey, and his experience is proven by how he took Esperance to the Champions League final last year. He's also a person, like he said, we've had some discussions previously prior to his arrival at the football club. He said it, he's a man for the people, he's a man who wants to relate with players and connect minds and bodies, or hearts and bodies, as he says. And that's very exciting for us because we see ourselves as a football club that's very ambitious and aspirational. And the players that are part of our team, they have dreams and they all want to be the best possible people and players that they can be. And we believe that with Coach Miguel, he'll unlock that ability and we'll see the best of the team in the coming months.
Before we take the next question, there were comments from here. Let's just keep it down. And also there's a request for us to move the mic, Chairman.
Okay.
Yeah, that mic closer to you.
I think Coach Miguel wanted to answer. Okay. Did you hear that? Is that okay for you?
Yes, so to continue as well. Maybe
The second part.
Sure.
Thank you very much for your question. It's really an interesting question because obviously when I arrived in Africa, and I had that on mind already in Portugal regarding what is Mamelodi Sundowns and its identity, its particularities. And it was clear for me when I arrived in Africa in Esperance because everybody spoke a lot about Sundowns. And it was so clear for me regarding the structure of the club, the leadership of the club, the style of game that the club wants to develop, and how organized and structured it is, that having the chance one day to enter a club like this, it should become an objective and not a dream. Obviously, I never work thinking about the future, I work about the present, and I'm very honest on that. But when there was a possibility of starting speaking with the club, that obviously became an objective for me. So I did my best in order to reach this agreement and be here today, because it's a privilege indeed to enter a club that fights to win, and we coaches, we depend on the real possibility of winning. I had also other opportunities of work where I could not fight to win, because the teams had not the level to win. And when you have the chance, you also express your own potential. So I'm here also to continue to express my potential and pass that for the players so that I can highlight them, make them better, make the team better also, and develop the club throughout the results and obviously the development of the players and of the development of the team. So I think we have a clear understanding of each other. So my objectives, they come completely in according to the way the club positions itself. And this made the things quite simple from a certain moment because of that, I believe.
Thank you. While we take the next question, are you sorted with the sound there? Are you guys fine? Thank you, because there's commotion there. So we'll take yourself first, Lawrence.
My question is to the sport director, Lawrence Gowda from Magesi Times. Obviously, you're part of the decision process at the club. The previous coach that's just left is on top of the table, and as the chairman mentioned, there was obviously certain things that were not met, that's why there was the change. But obviously with the club on top of the table, there's very high ambitions from this club. So is there a clear mandate now for Coach Miguel that needs to go out and win the Champions League, win the league, and be competitive? The Club World Cup was obviously it's unrealistic to win the club.
Thanks, Lorenz, for the question. First, the mandates for any head coach of Mamelodi Sundowns is very clear. It is to win whatever competition we are taking part of. If that's a possibility for the Club World Cup, I would let other people make that evaluation. But in general, that's the mandate for all coaches all head coaches in Mamelodi Sundowns, and it's also the mandate for Coach Miguel. And then I will say, when it comes to the past and things, I work very, very clearly on a specific model that I call a DPS model. I don't know if you have heard about it before, but a DPS strength is not where it has been, and it's not necessarily where it needs to go. It is that it knows exactly where it is. And you always have to know, as a leader, you always know exactly where you are at that particular moment, because then you also know where you are going and how you are going to get there. And that have been the decision made by the board and by the family. Of course, we all support that and are all sure that we have taken the right steps to take Mamelodi Sundowns to even higher level than you have seen before. And that's what we trust in and what we believe in.
Next question, Skipper.
Motsepe from Berg. To the chairman, I think twice Coach Was Manqoba was appointed, and twice midway through the season he was let go. From him, Paul as well comes in before the season is done, he's let go. What does this say about the decision making at the top, and what does it speak to, in terms of the long-term vision of the club? Is it to say you were wrong in the decision that you made at the beginning of the season to appoint two? And also, Sundowns has never been this, ruthless, for lack of a better way, to just make this kind of decisions. So what is the root cause? What is behind this kind of decisions? Is it they're wanting to win the Champions League or wanting to just remain dominant?
Thank you very much for the question. Am I audible? You guys can hear me? So I think to your first question around how we made the decision at this point, we must maybe go back to the start of the season. And the truth is, we wanted to make sure that we gave this coaching team that was led by Coach Manqoba and Wendell the opportunity to start the season and see what they could do with the current crop of players. There's a history that they have with the football club, and they understood a lot about the team and the players. As I said before, we also have a commitment as a family to develop African and South African coaches. So when the opportunity came at the start of the season to hire a different coach or to try this project again, we understood what we had and who we were working with, and we wanted to give them that chance. Subsequently, the season started, and as I mentioned before, the team wasn't reaching the heights that we had hoped and that the board had expected. And rather than let matters deteriorate and maybe even have two coaches who were really well loved and still are by our supporters and by our club, we decided let's stop now. And they have a wonderful history with the football club already, and we decided also to make sure that this change happened now, so that we could position ourselves as we close this year to be in a stronger position looking forward to 2025 and onward. Around your question around the what did you say, ruthless? Mamelodi Sundowns is definitely a club that has high aspirations. We want the best for ourselves, and we want the best for our supporters. But you also have to sometimes take into consideration where you are and where you want to be. We had the coaches with us, as I said before, for a very long time. We were disappointed that Coach Romain was only with us for a short while, but he was part of that team that started the season with us. So we are not necessarily the type of club that wants to change all the time, and history has proven that we've kept our coaches for a very long time. If we want to say ruthless, these coaches have been with us in various departments and various parts of the club for, like I said, over 2 decades. So it was about the club needing change. And we hope that this is going to breathe a lot of new energy and allow us to shift into that new chapter of success.
To the top table, I think this looks like it's a move that was long waiting to happen. I'm not sure whether it's the chairman or the sporting director is going to answer it. How long did it take to pursue the coach to bring him on board? And looking at this, where the Sundowns fans are, if I may speak for the fans, not that much, I'm just saying, they were lacking the certainty that Sundowns fans always had. What would be the club saying to them, knowing very well that they are uncertain at this stage and they just lost to an unknown Magesi, all the uncertainty within the fan circles? What would you say to the fans, and looking at where they are emotionally as well?
I think there's 2 parts to your question. Yes. So maybe Fleming, do you want to talk to the first part?
Yeah. When it comes to hiring key personnel in a professional football club or a company, it's always an ongoing process. So meaning there is talks, discussion with several different people all the time, because it's a part of the job. It is to be clear on how is the market, what's availabilities, what are we looking, where are we going? Again, the DPS model, very, very important. Where are we now, and where do we want to go? So it's you can very, very rarely say that there's a certain date where something starts when it comes to this. It's often ongoing processes. There's no doubt that now the rain came, and I know Miguel was very happy about the rain last year when Esperance played here, because that definitely broke the game, where we were under control in that game. But things like this are ongoing, and can happen for various different reasons. You can have connections, you can have recommendations, you can have played against the coach, like also it is with players. It's always ongoing processes, these things. So when things start, it's actually very complicated to put an exact date on. But we have had a mutual interest from the start of our talks. So convincing is not the right word. We have had a mutual interest from the start, both. So we didn't need to convince. We didn't need to be convinced. That is very, very clear from the start, and that's why we are very happy with our decision here.
Yeah, just to the second part of the question to the supporters, I think we as a football club, we know who we are and we know what our goals are and what we have to expect of ourselves. The supporters have always been a very special and an important part of our success. When they sing, when they play the drums in the stadium, it's the rhythm that keeps us going and makes us as players confident. So we would just want to encourage them, starting this Sunday, to join us in this new chapter, join us on this new journey that we're all going to be taking together, because we are one family, one team. And I think it's going to be a wonderful journey if we're all in this together.
Chairman, we'll take a question from yourself, Mark, and then to the front of that and move to the left. We need to bring the press conference to a close. There will be a press conference on Friday again, where you'll be able to engage with the coach, so we can just...
Okay. Towards Sundowns from Farpost, greetings. Coach, how would you describe your philosophy as a coach? And I'm sure you've obviously had a look at the club. When you look at the players at the club, do they fit into your philosophy as a coach?
Very, very interesting question. Thank you very much. Obviously that I knew already the team. We had to study it very deeply last year to face the two games of the semi-final of the Champions League. Only with that deep study we were capable to overcome the difficulties that we had. And that's part of the job of a coach, to be updated also on the best teams in Africa, in the world even, to follow the patterns of the development of the game itself. But, or to enter the job, there was another moment of preparation where we studied not only what was happening, because that was the most important part, what was happening now during this season with the team, how the team was playing, and also understanding obviously the players deeply by themselves, what are their capacities. So we had to study the team and the players, and it's obvious and clear that the players we have, as they are technically well developed, they suit the game of a coach that wants to impose himself on the games, because this is the base, to have quality players. I struggled a lot to impose myself in other contexts where the quality could not sustain what indeed I wanted to put in going on. And that's what I want. I want a team that can control the games. And control the games, it means that the team must be solid in all the 4 moments of the game. Must understand very well what to do with the ball, obviously, but as I have in mind and clear, you have to have the ball to move, not the ball, but the opponent, in order to find the right spaces to attack those spaces. I know there are, obviously, when the teams play against Sundowns, we really need to understand this question of the spaces. Where are the spaces? How we should create them? How we should utilize and use the spaces that are on the game. So having control of the game has also to do with being very aggressive in the moment you lose the ball. Because as much as you control the game, or as much you are aggressive, there's a moment where you're going to lose the ball. And you need in that moment to be very, very strong. I think it's a moment that the team needs to grow a lot. And for that, you need to have a huge solidarity among the players. Because I prefer the players to run for 3-4 seconds and make an effort to recover the ball immediately, rather than coming down, reorganize and defend to win the ball and then having to go forward again. And I think that moment can give us a lot in the future. So that's one of the things we'll have to work from the very first day. So, and we have players for that, because we have players with that mentality that need to be probably stimulated in order to put the going on. They need to be closer to each other for that moment. And that comes from the offensive organization. After, obviously, when we play high high level of difficulty games, the other team has also quality to go in attack, so to get out of our pressure and take the ball in the spaces that we'll have obviously to give, because the pitch has a huge dimension. And in that moment we need to continue to press the ball and reorganize through that to the moment we are in defense. That has to do that we need to be strong on rest defense, and then we need to be good on reorganize ourselves. And that is also solidarity and commitment, because there will be no player more important than the team with me, believe me, no one. Because we make the task as a group, and we understand that we have quality, but we put the quality together going on, because football is a collective sport, not an individual sport. It's not A plus B plus C plus D, or number 1 plus number 2, number 3. It's how we can be together. And the difficulties will come, and we'll overcome them when we'll be together. So having a good defensive organization is part of football. There's a moment we need to have a good defensive organization. And for that we need to understand we need to be solid, we need to be organized, we need to be collective. That has nothing to do with being a defensive coach or an offensive coach. It has to do to understand that to win trophies in the tough games, that will come. It will be highlighted by the game itself. And or you are up to the challenge, or you will lose. Because good teams, they will use this moment to make you harm too. And we need to prepare, obviously, for tomorrow. We need to prepare for next game. But we'll work for the future. And working for the future is working, obviously, for the top games, top challenges, where the decisions will be made. And when the decisions will come, we'll have to win as a team. After, we need to be strong also, obviously, on the moment that nowadays with the team that we'll play against, some teams that we'll play against, we need to use the moment of the counter-attack. So we need to understand, are there spaces for us to immediately counter-attack, to harm the opponent? Yes, let's use them. We have quick players? Yes, we have. We have players that can get out of the pressure from the opponent? Yes, we have. We have even a goalkeeper that can help us a lot on that. So let's use the team for that. Let's use this moment of the game that can give us a lot. Because nowadays also every team is quite strong on defensive process, because teams nowadays, they organize themselves to avoid, and with a lot of players on that moment, even defending with lines of 6, as we saw in the championship in last games, several. We need to be strong on this moment also. So we need to be strong on the 4 moments, and we need also to be, I believe, more strong on standards, on set pieces. Because set pieces are also a very important moment of the game. We need to highlight them also. We need to make more goals from set pieces. We need to work on this a lot. But work is time. And time you win by winning games. And that's what we want. Start winning the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And continue to develop this mentality. And to win, you don't win on the day of the game. You do win on the first day of the week, on the first training of the week. And this is the spirit I'm going to bring to the club. There's no time for... There's time for good ambience. There's time for ludic moments. There's time to have pleasure on the training sessions, from the beginning to the end. But pleasure is make the things well. Because I believe that the true winners, they don't come from perfection. They come from consistency. Because not because today you train good. It's because every day you make the best in order to train good. And like that you become better. So this is the spirit we need to have. This is the spirit I believe on. And this is what I want for me and for myself and for my players. I really leave a message strong for them. We need to be ambitious. But ambitious is not something you say, it's something you show, it's an attitude. And no one destroys, no one kills an attitude. No one. It's impossible. That's how also I see the biggest teams in the world to win. By developing a strong attitude collectively. That comes from the heart and the mind of each of the person. So we need to conquer the person, the people themselves. And after we'll conquer the players for sure. Because I believe they will believe in us. I believe we're going to put something going on that will give them pleasure. And players will follow the leader if they also feel pleasure in what they do. That's what I want from my players. That's what I want from all the staff around us. That the spirit that I heard from the first moment I started speaking with Sundowns, that I felt when I was on the other side. The spirit that you gave to me, I will never forget the press conference after the semi-final of Champions League, when I entered the press conference. Because you have spirit, you have the values. You applaud me, in that moment. And I felt such privilege to be facing journalists that really had a human attitude. And you were human. That's what I want for my players. I want to take their human part. Because football, it will flow. It will flow. It will come from there. That's the job, that's the task.
So we'll take the last few questions, but if the coach has already answered your question, it's okay. You can do it on Friday. It's about then straight on.
It's about I hear you speaking about Sunday. Will the coach have a work permit by then? Will be on the bench or will be watching from playing?
We are already clear on work permit, and every permission that we need, everything is cleared from a legal perspective.
Straight on.
Times Live. Chair, questions for you. Manqoba's exit brings to an end an era of the coaching staff of the 2016 Champions League victory. Pitso, Rulani, Manqoba, who in various forms as head coach or co-coaches have had the most successful period in Sundowns history. A word on the big step of moving away from that succession that there has been. And a second part to that question on Coach Miguel, who's held in high respect, I know, across the continent and reached the Champions League final. You'll correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of us are using Google here. I believe it's one trophy and one league title. You spoke of the standards of the club, and we know Sundowns covers the Champions League most, and of course the league. Was that a concern for the club, and what was it that overrode that concern with your decision? Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Mark. I think it's a good question to speak around, and actually it's well noted that this now marks a change in that Champions League setup. What we must never be is slaves to our history. You know, we need to celebrate it. We need to make sure that it's something that drives us forward. But, you know, as a football club with 54 years of heritage and existence, we always have to keep striving to grow and adapt and find new ways to achieve our dreams and desires. We will forever, you know, hold all the players and coaches that were part of that special moment in the club's history. But we need to, and we needed to, and we made this decision based on that need to change and redirect the focus of the club now. No longer looking at the past, but looking forward and using the past as a motivator. Coach Miguel's his CV, if we can say, it's one that I think it's better spoken than read. If you had chances to speak with the coach about his experiences in Rio Ave, or you know, when he was working in France at Nantes, or when he was Shakhtar Donetsk, you understand how much he learned and how much he developed, and the challenges and the improvements and changes he made to those teams. As he said before, and you know, not necessarily, and with all due respect to all the teams that he coached, but he didn't necessarily have all the tools that he would have hoped to have, let's say that. Now, I don't believe that Mamelodi Sundowns is a complete club. We definitely have wonderful people, special players, special coaches and staff that make us who we are. But we also see ourselves as an opportunity in a club that he can achieve greater success with. The one title, I mean, nobody wants to speak about other coaches, but you know, when Jurgen Klopp arrived at Liverpool, he didn't have the most, you know, decorated CV, and now he leaves the club as a legend. I think all masters and all legends start somewhere, right? And so we hope that this is the place that he starts to write his own legend at Mamelodi Sundowns. And we as a board and the technical team and the club, and of course with the support of our wonderful fans, we'll all be in this journey together.
Sherman, can I give a word, you mind, about this?
Sure.
It's really interesting, this discussion, because we live in a society and we live in a sport where people judge the CVs by the trophies. But sometimes they forget that in order to win not only you need to be in the context where you can truly fight to win, but also sometimes you are in context where winning is not really getting trophies. For example, I have four finals of big competitions clubs. We won 0. I'm speaking about Youth League Under-19 in Shakhtar Donetsk. I'm speaking about Europa League with Braga. I'm speaking about final of Champions League with Esperance. My God, being on those finals is so big trophy that when you look at my CV, don't judge because we lost that game. Judge it because we won to arrive there. For you, probably to be here, there are many, many journalists that didn't arrive at where we are. And probably you are not on the best TV channel or on the best journal, but you are there because no one gave you still the opportunity. I waited 1.5 years without work to enter a club where I had a chance to put the trophy, because I know how society it is. And society judges you also by the trophies. So I wanted to enter a club where I could win. And when I entered, I succeeded. And I won. I'm champion of Tunisia in the moment. And the club was not in the position of winning in that moment. It was really struggling, even to get out of this group stage of Champions League. And we made it, because we believed and we prepared ourselves. So when you judge a club, a coach, you judge by a lot of things. By how many players he developed when he was in Shakhtar Donetsk, and nowadays there are international players playing the best clubs in the world. Mudryk, Zinchenko, Kovalenko. This is also tasks that I had in previous clubs. Beating records doesn't mean you won. I beat his records in Rio Ave, and I won nothing. I beat his records on the Champions League with Esperance, and I won nothing on the Champions League. And we beat his records. And already this season, we made the highest result in a group, in a match in Champions League by 8-0 that we did on the pre-qualification, on the qualification match. So this is also work of a coach. And here, it's another level. We need to win, to mark. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, a few days you have before your game against Raja. What do the next few days look like? And how do you then approach a team like Raja in the next couple of days?
Sorry, Coach, the CAF Champions League staff, we have a press conference on Friday. Maybe you can take part of it, but not everything.
So the next few days before Friday, what does it look like?
Next few days, exciting days. Obviously full of work, but that's what drives us. That's what really excites us. It's the sensation of football that gives you every day, a lot of energy. So today I called my family in the morning. I said, let's speak now because maybe you have no time further on the day. So obviously there are compromises you need to have, but this is what really excites me and all the staff. This is really what excites us. Working on the edge and making it fall on the right side. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. With excitement, with enthusiasm, with the right spirit, with the right ambition, full of energy. We had the opportunity to be with our families during 1 month. So we are on the right moment to do the task and to do the job.
Welcome, Coach, and congratulations. Just a quick thing. I see you have kept Kapalaya, taking baby steps in his coaching career, and also Coach Steve, somebody who is highly respected in our country. Just the significance of having local people, local knowledge as part of our technical team, because we see quite often foreigners going to a country and they discuss the local people because you can't trust them and that kind of thing. Just the significance of having them there as part of our technical team. And also to Fleming, how much of a personal responsibility do you take for the failed Coach Manqoba project? Because it was your project, you oversaw it. Any regrets and that kind of thing?
Should I ask first?
I think so.
Okay, so first of all, I feel very happy with the staff I have. It was a common decision to keep Steve Campella and Kennedy with us. I need to absorb as quick as possible, not only there because they can help us by the quality of their work, by the experience they have, but also by the fact that they are locals and they can give us the insights that obviously we need. So there were a couple of factors that made them be among or with me today. It was a decision that really we shared. It was not imposed, otherwise I could not speak and say this in front of you. It was my also decision to really absorb them because I felt that can be key. But not only them, so I'll also work with all the part of the physical performance department. I'll work together with Matthias and Sendiso that worked already here in the club. I will work with all the analysis department, so they will be also kept to work with me. I will work with all the medical department, and I will work with all the kitmans, all the people from management. I will work with everybody. I'm very easygoing on relations. I'm demanding, but that doesn't mean that I don't smile, that I don't have, and I don't create good ambience. And we want to perform also. We want to perform. I will develop myself with them, and they will develop with me. What I need is open-minded people, because I'm here to help. Just be one more, not to be the boss, whatever. It's not my attitude. I will lead. I will lead because I will give the example. I will lead because I'll motivate people. I will lead because they will believe in me. And together, because I believe on them, for sure we'll arrive where we want to be.
We'll take Kanyiso, then the last question will be from Daniel.
Thank you very much.
After the Fleming
question. You see, I don't really see it like that. Because we are, in my humble opinion, in a much better place now than we were 5 months ago. So I don't see it like that. I don't consider the past few months and the journey we have had as a failure, not at all. And when it comes to responsibility in this football club is a collective. It's always collective efforts. We bring a lot of different knowledge and opinions and recommendations to the table, and then in general decisions of this magnitude is taken by the board. That is how this club works. And I know there have been talks earlier about, no, Fleming did this and Fleming did that, but it doesn't work like that in this football club. You underestimate the club a lot if you think that. The club is much bigger than that. So I take definitely all the responsibility that I can, but the most important for me to say here is that I will not buy the narrative of failure, not at all. As it was said, we are not in a bad moment at all. We are actually in a pretty okay moment. But again, I will refer to the DPS model. It's about what was right at that time is not necessarily what is right now. And we always have to look at the key success for a company or for a football club is always to find out when will the curve start going down, and then act before it happens. The investments have to happen before the curve starts going down. And you cannot be too much too late before it's very late. So I don't see it like that, and I don't see the narrative like that. So I think we are in a considerably better place, and I will give a lot of credit to the coaching team that have been before, because we are in a significant better place than we were 5-6 months ago. I am 100% sure of that.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Kaiso Chong from News 24 Sport. Coach, I don't know if this question's been addressed, but are you able to take us through the other individuals on the coaching staff and what's they bring to the table?
So with all pleasure, and thank you for that opportunity. I have all the pleasure to present my staff. Starting by Fabio Fernandes. He's my, stand up please, Fabio. Stand up, please. Fabio is a friend. He's a friend that friendship that we developed some time ago when we made the decision to start working together. He had really the spirit to follow me on my decisions, even in the moment I was not working, that I decided to wait for the right opportunity. I believe that people here will really like his spirit, like his attitude. He is someone that strives a lot in the matches, that really puts a lot of energy in everything he does. He's a easygoing relation also, so someone that really connects with people, always smiling, and he's very, very, very qualified in terms of what he does close to me. He's my, let's say, first assistant. He'll be always with me, obviously. He has a large experience in Africa. He played already 2 CAN with Burkina Faso national team. He had also clubs experiences in Africa, and that was also important when we arrived last year in Esperance to obviously, as quick as possible, overcome the difficulties we had in a moment. Pedro is someone that also works with me regarding everything that are tasks of a coach in the training sessions. He's a multitask person. He has a lot of experience working in the youth teams of FC Porto, from where a lot of coaches come. And he was on the moment of maturity to give him the opportunity also to enter the highest level. So I took him for Esperance exactly with that purpose. Me, myself, I had 9 years in Oporto, and that was a moment that someone gave me the opportunity to move. And in that moment, it was a Portuguese coach that took me to Belenenses. So I knew that Pedro was on the level of maturity to also give a step, and he was also very important with us in last year trip. João Araújo. João is also someone that for many years he was telling me, Miguel, when, but the whens were not happening at the same time. So we could not join ourselves in the journey of football before, but we shared a lot during the period that we were not working together, because he had experiences in several teams with a few coaches in Portugal, and he was working the last years in the highest level before joining me in Esperance, working in Braga, as Sporting Clube de Braga is now one of the best organized clubs in Portugal, and he was on the department of analysis. He's a mind that reads, works on the game, helps me on also preparing the work on not only analyzing the opponents and our own game, but also on the help that he gives me to the strategical preparation of the matches. I'm a coach that works in open with all the staff. So I don't, obviously each of them will relate in a different way inside the club with the different departments, but I like to sit and discuss with all the people. I like people to have as quick as possible, and that's my task also, so that we can think, because this task is not only a task of the players or to do with the players, put everybody to think the same things at the same time. I need also to put the coaches to think the same things at the same time. And that's why I also like always to work in a context of sharing, of a democracy, let's say, so that everybody can give his best. That's my objective also. So that's basically their characteristics, I think, in a brief presentation, and thank you again for that opportunity.
Last question from Flaxo.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. To the sporting director, what about the profile of Coach Miguel makes him the right fit for the club, and are there any elements of how the team set up under Coach Manqoba that was not pleasing to the club's hierarchy? And her coach, you play Sundowns, like you say, you've seen the players that they have. Have you seen enough for them to go all the way and emulate the class that Kennedy and previous captain Trompo to go all the way in this competition? Because the previous 3 coaches that were here won the league and prime. The biggest barometer for you. You don't need me to tell you that will be the Champions League, basically. And to the chairman, how much did the loss to Magesi sort of like influence the club to sort of look in a new direction? Because the coach already has his papers already, so clearly, the club is being considered this for a while.
I think I will start when when we discuss and talk football with Coach Miguel, there's a clear sign of what he stands for as a coach is also what we stand for as a club. Appointing coaches in Mamelodi Sundowns will always be based on the playing style and the philosophy and the way Sundowns wants to play football. So we will not appoint a coach that doesn't work into that style of football. Then it's also a question of developing it. And with some of of course, we have done a lot of research in this. This is a big decision for Mamelodi Sundowns, and we don't jump into that with closed eyes. We have done a lot of research and a lot of talks on this. And if you go back and see, for me, one of the most exciting teams you have in Europe as Celta Vigo. It's a top team with Iago Aspas at that time and very, very good football players, and see how they were playing football. And you will understand and you will see the similarities when it comes to that. And I can do that when I go to the different teams. When you take a team like Rio Ave, who have it's a suburban to Porto at the coast, up in the north of Portugal, who have maybe the 12th biggest budget in Portuguese football, and making them a solid number 5. But playing football like the way you will again see similarities to the way Sundowns plays football. So there are so many things that's convinced us that this was the right decision on it. And yes, I saw all Esperance's game last year because we were playing them, and I do my research when we are playing the teams, because I also have to be able to talk football with the analysts and the coaches and things, So I saw all the games, and again, I can see what Miguel was trying to do in Esperance. Not that it was. I'm also pretty sure he will agree with me that he didn't finish there, on where he would like to take the team. But again, a lot of similarities. And I remember, Chairman, when we were playing the first semi-final, I said to the Chairman, look, this is going to be difficult because this is a well-structured, organized team that plays a good type of football. So we are going to struggle in these 2 games. It will be difficult for us, and we did struggle in the game. So when it comes to that, the fit is for us very, very good when it comes to the way of playing football, and there we are definitely aligned. But also everything has to develop. If you're standing still, you're going backwards in modern football, and everything has to develop. And we are certain that we in Miguel and Joao, Pedro, and Fabio have together with Kennedy and with Steve and with all our analysts, and we have a very, very strong setup. And we are very confident that we can take Mamelodi Sundowns to the heights that we all want, and the trophies we all want. So that was the decision for bringing in this coaching team.
Going all the way, the current team, have you seen enough for them to go all the way? Because you will be judged by the Champions League.
I believe a coach is under judgment every day. That's how the business of football regards the work of a coach. What I feel is important is that the coach doesn't lose the sense of where he's going. What I mean is, I don't look the future long term. I look every day. That's how I establish consistency. I know the challenges ahead of me. I know the level of opponents we have ahead to play against. But if my focus is on next month, probably I will not arrive there. What I mean is that all a coach believes that he's looking for the present and working for the next game with the full energy and full commitment, that he will be able to develop himself, the team, the players for the challenge that we has ahead. I never forget one experience I had. In that time I was assistant coach, because I was assistant coach for many years on two, 3 coaches that, thank God, also they made a very good job. So I also profit from that. I never forget once we had a game and we managed the game in order to think about the following one. And the president in the end, we made a draw. And the president in the end, he opened the door of the locker room, our locker room, coach's locker room, and he put the head inside and said, hey, in this club, how do you think about the next game? Or probably we will not be there for the following one. That shaped my attitude regarding football. Clear. Focus on every day. Focus in this hour. Focus on this moment. Give your best. Otherwise, one day probably regret why I didn't give my best, expecting to leave something for the future. That's also the attitude I put on my assistants. Focus on today, because tomorrow will be better. If we succeed today, there's always something better. That's how we arrived here, because it was possible to arrive here. But it was only possible because during 1 year, we fought about nothing else rather than football. Rather than football. With sacrifices from the families, with sacrifices from ourselves, with a lot of sacrifices, but a lot of pleasure at the same time, because we love what we do. And that's put us in this moment of privilege that we are living now. So now, what we want is to establish ourselves here, is to bring this attitude also, keep this insight, keep this energy, because here we want to succeed so much, that one day we'll have more trophies, we'll have a legacy, we'll be part of the heritage, and one day you'll be so happy to remember me, like people nowadays in Tunis, because I left the club with big compliments from everybody. There was a decision common that we took together, because it was a moment to separate ourselves because of some questions of ideology, not because we are not happy between each other. And the moments are exactly like that. There's a moments where people need to separate because they want to make different paths. And with no regrets, with the pleasure of people coming every day, every moment. That's how we leave doors and most of all relations open for the future, because I love to have and to keep good relations with people. So that's what we're going to do here.
And just to your question, it was in regards to say, was it after the Magesi game that we decided to make the change?
That probably made the club to look at a different direction, because clearly you guys got everything sorted with the papers of the coach. It means this appointment was not made, there was consideration basically behind the appointment, and probably with time behind it.
There's always consideration in serious appointments like changing the coaching staff at the club. But it certainly wasn't the Magesi game that made the decider. The Magesi game, it was magic for most, but tragic for us, right? It was definitely something that you look back on, and for the football club, somebody actually came up to me at the end of the game and he said, "This is why football is called the beautiful game." And it's tough to look at it from that perspective when you're on the receiving end of a Cinderella story like that. But what I do understand and what I know is that performance probably inspired many amateur footballers, people in the lower leagues, coaches, to say that this is possible. And that's the magic of cup football. But back to your question, we started the season having given the coaching team the opportunity to take the reins and lead the club in the direction that they saw fit. And unfortunately, we started with a stumble, then we were knocked out of the MTN 8, and then we had another unfortunate stumble with Rulani, and there was just a series of games that we never really saw the consistency that we would hope, and the club wasn't trending in the direction that we knew the club should be. So the decision, it was one that was made after a compounding of many, many factors that led us to that point. And then we had to make it and make it fairly quickly so that we could put the coach and his team in the best position to see the rest of the season, or the rest of the year out through properly.
Thank you, Chairman. That brings us to the close of the press conference. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah, that's a good idea, Mahlati. Can we get the coaching teams? Oh yeah, the coach and the shirt. Do you guys have enough space if we go in front, or take it behind? The back.
Do you use one or the other also?
Oh, thank you. Let me take it.
We use the other two also because we've got 3 shirts.
Okay. Well done. Coach Steve, let's get in here. Okay. You guys, you got the. I need you next to me.
The other 2 are coming.
Oh, okay. I think we've got our coach holding. It's his shirt now.
Yes.
Like, oops.
No, you hold the shirt, coach.
Okay.
Can you make it a bit more compact?
Are we okay there on that side?
Maybe turn to the side, on the side.
Tato, we okay?
Make it a bit more compact. Maybe for the frame. Do
you want to try with that other shirt?
Maybe just move the framing a bit to the
We just do the 3 shirts here.
Let's keep this single.
Let's just swap around. Steve, can we take yours because it's going to be white on white with this gentleman?
Same.
So, yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you for patience.
Is that okay? Is it making sense? There's a shirt far away from us.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. Okay, Shubi, are we all right?
We're fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.